Yo, what's going on, guys? I'm sure you expected that shit, didn't you? It's your boy, Jondaliner, which a lot of you guys did not know that's how it's pronounced because I never say it in my videos, and the word makes no sense. But for you guys that don't know, I'm Jondaliner. Today, this is a different type of video than I usually put out. Usually I put out more of, entertainment, a little bit of skillful gameplay from time to time. But today, I want to talk to you guys about frame rate. I know, this sounds so random, right? But it's not. And let me tell you why. For those of you who don't know, For Honor just started crossplay between PlayStation, PC, and Xbox. And for my comments section, I have seen nothing but let's put a frame cap on PC, let's put them down to 60 frames so they have to be like on an even playing field with console. And I understand where you're coming from that. Considering I started playing this game on the Xbox One, 30 FPS, then the Series X, and then now PC, I completely understand the frustration, and the games do play different on each platform. I'm not going to lie to you. The game is way easier on PC. However, capping the frame rate is not the way to do it. And here's why. And actually, before I get into it, just want to let you guys know, GamerSupps doing a cool special right now. When I say right now, I literally mean like right now, as this video is going live. You buy like any of their shit, any of these little tubs, you get a free shaker cup to go with it. It's badass. And they're limited edition. They're only doing it's like today, and then they're out because they run out within like an hour usually. So if you guys want a free shaker cup, get some GamerSupps. Link in the description. This shit's delicious. It will last like forever. When I say forever, I mean months, most likely. Like, it's good shit. And yeah, link in the description, give you 10% off as well. And it helps me out, so yeah. Add over. They didn't pay me to do this, but I'm telling you. Back to frame rates. So, where I was going with this. As you guys may or may not know, old gen console is currently at 30 FPS. It's ass, okay? It's really, really just next gen console, PS5, Xbox Series X, Series S, whatever the fuck they're called, they're at 60 FPS. It looks like way smoother, right? And then you got PC, which could be anywhere from 5 FPS to like 300, or if you're crazy, like 500. I don't think anybody is going to get a 500 FPS monitor to play For Honor, but the possibility is there. And I will not lie to you, the frame rate is nice. It does help. However, it is not the biggest contributing factor into why you would lose a fight between a PC player and a console player. The biggest issue, and I mean the absolute 100% biggest issue in this game from platform to PC is input delay. For those of you guys who don't know what input delay is, it's when you press a button and how long it takes for that button to register on your game. This is the number one issue, not frame rate. Again, frame rate is nice, and it does help to an extent. But once you get past like 60, anything higher than 60, the amount of assistance you get from it is so minimal, especially compared to input delay. It is just not even reasonable to have a frame cap. Now, I know you guys want to be on an even playing field with PC. Just you console people. PC players obviously want to keep their frames. I want to keep my frames. I play at 140 most of the time when I play on PC, or if I want to play on like higher graphic settings, I'm like right at 100, okay? But this is just because the game looks smoother. It looks great. If you guys haven't played any of these newer PS5 exclusives, they all have like a performance mode and a quality mode. And these are like single player games, and I always go for performance mode. Not that I can play the game better, but because it looks better. It looks so much smoother. And that's essentially the reason PC players have invested in better setups. The frame rate just makes the game look buttery smooth. And these setups, these computers, these monitors, they're not cheap. They're not. I wish they were. They're not cheap. Some of these are like the cost of consoles themselves. And I'm just talking about the monitors. Mine wasn't, because I'm a cheapo. I get the best for the lowest amount of money. I feel like that's the best way to live personally, but that's me. The PCs, however, could cost thousands. And I literally mean like $2 grand, $3 grand, $1.5 grand. Now, going back to this, the reason I'm mentioning this, for you guys that are on older hardware, PS4, Xbox One, these things came out in like 2013, okay? We are in 2022. That is 9 years. And the expectation from a lot of you guys, not all of you, obviously, not every one of you, but from a lot of you guys, is hey, you PC players who are staying up to date, even next gen. I've even seen some of y'all complain about next gen, saying we all need to be on 30 FPS. Not as many of those comments, but I have seen them. And I've seen a lot of them say 60, because they're saying 60 is not that bad compared to 120, which is a random number. I don't really see why 120 is being thrown around so much. I guess because it's double of the double from 30, but most people don't have 120 hertz monitor, so I don't know where that number is coming from. Either way, the biggest difference in frame rate is definitely from 30 to 60 compared from 60 to 120 or 140 or whatever number you go to. And again, all these are just quality improvements, not so much gameplay improvements. I think I've gone on long enough explaining the difference in frame rates between each platform. One thing I want to mention that did happen today. When I'm recording this is the day Crossplay was implemented. For those of you who don't know, which might have been you PC players, but the console players, all of you were locked at like 30 FPS, some even lower. Some were even down to like 20 or so, which is terrible. I don't like that. You should never have your frames capped below what you are supposed to have. So for you next gen people who are supposed to have 60 frames, y'all were at 30 and it felt like shit, didn't it? It is a huge difference going from 60 frames to 30 frames. However, the one thing you will still have, and once they fix this, you're still gonna have a lot less input delay compared to the old gen consoles. Old gen consoles have way too much input delay. Now, I don't know the exact number because I don't have any way to measure that. I got rid of my old gen console as soon as I got next gen because next gen just felt better in every way. However, it was a drastic decrease of input delay. If I had to put them like scale of 1 to 10 input delay, old gen console, Xbox was at about a 9, PS4 at like a 7, and you look at the new systems and they're at like a 2, right? And then PC is at 0. PC has like 0 input delay, which is fucking great, which is why I thoroughly enjoy playing on PC. But I also want to bring up another key factor that nobody is talking about when it comes to crossplay between Xbox, PlayStation, and PC in fairness, and that is matchmaking, MMR, skill level, etc. It doesn't matter if your opponent has 120 frames, 200 frames, whatever, if they suck. I could have 300 frames but not be able to block a light attack, while you could be here at 30 frames able to deflect light attacks. All this depends on the person playing the game. For example, if you have a buddy who is equal skill level with you, right? You're both playing on the old Xbox, and then your buddy upgrades to like a Series X, and then he fights you, and then y'all play, and he starts winning every time. At that point, y'all are not going to be getting matched together in games. That's just how matchmaking works. That's how MMR works. If you're just losing over and over in this certain skill bracket, you will not be paired with this skill bracket near as often. Is it still going to happen? Yes, because For Honor is not the biggest player base in the world, which is kind of why we have crossplay at this point. I feel like if our lobbies were bigger, if our pools of players were bigger, crossplay wouldn't have been as much a necessary thing. But as you guys know, matchmaking times were taking so long in modes that were not Dominion. It sucks. And today, playing crossplay, almost every lobby except maybe Tributes, I was finding a match in about 10 seconds, which is fucking fantastic. So for you players playing on old gen 30 FPS, you aren't going to be going against professional PC players with 300 frames per second. You're just not. You could be more skilled than them. You could have a faster reflex and better technique than them. You could have the best reflexes in the world, but because your hardware is going to limit you, you're going to perform worse than a lot of these players. Thus, you're not going to be put up with them. You're going to be put with players that are going to be similar specs as you and similar skill, or you're going to be going against players with higher specs than you and a little less skill. It all evens out in the end. That's just how it works. That's how it's supposed to work, at least, assuming matchmaking works good, which we'll find out over time. If that does not happen over time and matchmaking does not work and you're just getting crushed by the same pro team every time, that's a matchmaking issue. That's not a frame rate issue. That's not an input delay issue. That is a Ubisoft issue. Something you and I do not have control over, aside from not playing the game at that point. Now again, I do understand your frustration if you are on console against PC. It sucks. It's always the wish to have the best platform that you can perform the best on, but not everybody has that ability, unfortunately. For example, the next-gen consoles, it is extremely hard to get those. Due to scalpers, due to the cost of them, not everybody can have them. And obviously next-gen players do have an advantage. But again, this just goes back to the way matchmaking works. You're going to be paired against people that are performing similar to you. And you just can't blame every loss you have just on hardware, especially if you don't even know what the players have. It's just going to be a doubt in your mind at that point. So there's really not a reason at this point. The only thing I can suggest to do is if you want to try to get more frames, just invest in either a new system or to try to get a PC. And again, these things are pricey, but these players, these people, they've put their hard effort and time into getting these systems, whether it's a next gen or a PC. Both, again, are very expensive. And for them to have to play down to your older systems, that just doesn't make sense. You have a 9-year-old system. Ubisoft is obviously developing these changes with next generation systems in mind, because that's what makes sense. If you look at new games nowadays, most of them are going to either be exclusives for next gen, or they're just going to have more stuff on next gen, like performance mode, for example, or just better graphics in general, ray tracing, all these different things. And all these things are to make the game a better experience. If you look at other big games like Fortnite, Call of Duty, I can't even think of games. There's not too many like For Honor that are like this, but they do not have capped frames in like any scenario to my knowledge, aside from what the consoles can do. The consoles at most, I believe, can only do 120 frames, which is perfectly fine. That is a great frame rate for a shooter or really any game. You never need more than that. You can have more just to make it look better, but it's not a necessity in making your skill just significantly rise above other players. All in all, I love you guys in the comments section. It's just, there was so much hypocrisy when it come to this stuff. It's been crazy. It's been unreal, because before this, everybody was saying everybody needs to be at 60. And then now that half the console players are down to 30, they're upset that their frames were capped to a lower number. The irony was really funny. But I hope this video has explained a little bit to you guys on why you're not going to be at a disadvantage. Again, you're not going to be able to compete with like the highest of PC players because they have better hardware. And when I say highest of PC players, I mean people that can like parry your attacks based on indicator flash for the parry, which is such a small amount of people. It's crazy. You're not going to run into these people very often regardless. Even me on PC, I play at a pretty high level and I don't even run into these people very often, if at all. It's just not a common occurrence. So I hope you guys did learn something. If you enjoyed the video, feel free to drop a like. Feel free to subscribe if you have not already. I don't know if you guys want to share this, feel free to. I know anytime I make a discussion video, it ends up on Reddit somewhere. But this is just my take on it. Feel free to leave your comments down below. Please do not be mean to each other. I know people love to do that in the YouTube comments. This ain't gonna stop it, but try to be nice, be respectful. Again, I do sympathize with you guys at lower generation because the game just does not look as smooth and input delay sucks. But I promise you, even if you get put with players on next gen or PC, these people probably just suck worse than you and are using hardware to compensate, okay? You guys have skill down there on the older gen, okay? People have money. It's money versus skill, okay? We're gonna look at it that way if you're on lower generations, okay? I love you guys. Hope you enjoyed the video. Again, Try some Gamer Sups if you have not already. This special goes like really quick. The shaker cups are sweet. They're like 24 or 26 ounces big, and it's free when you buy a tub. Get the waifu candy, by the way. It's fucking delicious. It's my favorite. And guys, thank you for watching. Have a great day. I'll catch you next time.